Grim news on job cuts is becoming routine, but when the labour force numbers were published today, unemployment was down. We'll discuss the confused signals from the job market with the Workplace Minister soon. But the headline news today was the announcement that Qantas will shed 500 staff. The cuts come after the airline reported an 83% slump in its half-year profit. And across the manufacturing sector, the spectre of job losses is making people anxious. But just how bad is the future looking? Greg Hoy reports.
The jobs carnage continues. Today it was 500 Qantas staff in the firing line, with revenues up but profit down, due mostly, the company claims, to recent industrial action. And with more job losses to come, Qantas is cutting labour costs, rationalising maintenance operations and air routes in the face, it says, of ongoing economic turbulence.
With our dollar likely to stay at sustained high value for the foreseeable future, Australia has become a very high-cost economy in which to do business. Many companies, including our own, are grappling with this factor. These factors will not go away and are likely to magnify.
The workers of Australia are increasingly finding their jobs in jeopardy. There is paralysis from the government in Canberra.
For those Qantas workers and for their families, this will be tough news indeed.
Though the unemployment rate fell slightly today, mounting job losses and the relentless rise of the dollar, widely predicted to continue, is fueling anxiety over job security across the economy, and nowhere more than in the manufacturing sector, which has now shed 127,000 jobs, according to the Bureau of Statistics, since the start of the global financial crisis.
Generally, people have a fear of the future, are worried about their future jobs, not spending as a result. That means in terms of demand, you're going to see less demand and more rebalancing in terms of the economic activity and jobs.
Some of the major multinational manufacturers, of course, have been claiming that the rising dollar is jeopardising their very future in Australia. And given they help make up one of the largest sectors of the economy, producing around 13% of GDP, or of all goods and services produced in Australia, the politicians are usually pretty quick to pull out the chequebook. But are they really helping, or simply compounding the problem and delaying the inevitable?
Given the high Australian dollar, we're seeing significant pressure on Australian governments to increase those subsidies. So we've seen it in the car industry, we've seen it in the steel industry, we're now seeing it in the aluminium industry. The smart thing to do as governments would be to say, if you can't make money as a business without government support, then there is no reason for government to step in.
Of course, there is going to be some labour shedding in some of the lower value areas of our economy, as there has been historically in other areas. But we shouldn't panic and say it's all or nothing. You know, we want some capacity. We want some capacity to compete on innovation with the rest of the world, and we should stay the course, is my view.
The last person we want them to be talking to about their business are politicians. We want them to focus on those things which really make great companies great. It's about the customer.
The Financial Services Council today joined such critics of ongoing assistance to the likes of the car industry, which riles former Victorian Premier Steve Bracks, who led a review of automotive industry assistance for the federal government and who serves as trade ambassador for the car industry.
If you imagine, say, 5-6 years' time, and you've panicked and you've said, for example, let's get rid of the 40,000 jobs in automotive, and as a consequence, we get rid of our capacity to bid into the global supply chain for aeronautics, I think we'd be waking up and saying, for goodness sake, why did we panic? We should stay the course. There's a transformation happening, and we should be a part of that into higher value, higher content in terms of innovation and engineering and design skills in our automotive, in other areas of our economy and manufacturing.
So is the outlook for the Australian manufacturing industry all doom and gloom?
We shouldn't be fearful of losing our manufacturing sector, far from it. There are many great companies here that are exporting to the world.
In Australia, we employ 350 staff. Interestingly, our biggest export market currently is in Germany, and we've been exporting to Europe for around 12 years now, and that's grown significantly in the last 5 years.
Though also feeling the heat of a high Australian dollar, Peter Sutton's family company, Sutton Tools, founded in 1917 by Peter's great-grandfather, makes high-precision drilling and cutting equipment, 40% of which is sold overseas. And how much have you depended on government assistance?
Great government assistance, we have tended not to really rely on government assistance. We've always seen ourselves as I said, a global competitor, and felt that if we weren't able to compete on a global fair-playing market, then it was only a short-term prospect. So we tend to compete on a fair level playing field with the rest of the world.
Are you cutting jobs?
We're not cutting jobs at this point. We're actually still trying to grow our business, mainly through our export activities in Europe. Comparing yourself and your products and cost as well against leading manufacturers wherever they may be. So it involves a lot of industry research, a lot of travel, and a lot of investment as well in maintaining the most efficient plant possible.
That said, Peter Sutton does not object to government support for the car industry, which he says develops technologies important for his own. But can those major manufacturers enjoying government support learn from smaller employers who must survive on their own?
We're very self-critical as a company, and we're always trying to get the best out of our people and our management, and I think having that prop-up assistance may make potentially a company lazy in terms of its ability to compete.
You won't survive unless you're innovative in automotive. It will change. I think we can be confident that if we concentrate on innovation, investment in research and development, high engineering and design skills, and we see that as our future, then we can be confident about the future of our manufacturing sector in those areas.
Greg Hoy with that report.